Good day, friends, wherever you may be. May I welcome you again to this presentation in our 5-day Stop Smoking Plan. It's Ernie Rex joining you again today on this, what would be our 3rd day if we were working in days, which we normally do. When we do it in town, we start on the Monday evening and then we work it through the week up to the Friday evening, and this would then be our Wednesday evening presentation, the 3rd day. You can also stop the habit. Welcome. I hope you're enjoying the program so far. If you're joining us for the first time, I would advise you to perhaps go back to day 1 and start with the plan at day 1 and work it through to day 5. How do you feel today? Well, most of us would actually not feel that bright today. It's one of those days where most people would say, this is the most terrible day of my life. It's full of emotions and there's a lot of things happening. It was not a very nice day. Who has not smoked for the last 24 hours? So I would like to salute those. And most of our group at this stage, most of our group would say, I have not smoked for the last 24 hours. And I hope you've also gotten to that place in your life where you took this decision to start and where you try to get your brain where you can say, I choose not to smoke, and that you can also say that. Well, how was your day? Perhaps not that nice. Yes, it's not that easy to put down that cigarette. Look at this little clip here. This little cat, and he's got a cigarette with him, and somebody wants to take away the cigarette. And he's not very, very happy about that. Yeah, and then on the other hand, it's not only us who are addicted. It can easily be...
Bennett, dinner!
Yes, and then this guy wants to go out to his friends on the veranda. This is one way in which you will definitely think about quitting this habit. You see how quickly he put that cigarette away. Yeah, just on the lighter side. But let's say something to each other. Failure is only failure when one fails to try again. Have you ever thought about that? Think about it. Keep it. Did you have headaches? Heartbeats? Drowsiness? Any cravings? Most of the people say, oh yes, definitely cravings. Nausea. Are you irritated? Most of the people are. Shaking. Shivering. Any problems to focus? Even your eyes are affected. Sweating hands. A strange feeling in your throat. Have you experienced any of these symptoms? And most of the group, most of the people who have stopped will tell you, yes, some of these, if not all, I have experienced today or yesterday. The good news, my friend, is relax. You are not sick. As a matter of fact, your body is busy to heal. This is the normal withdrawal symptoms when you stop smoking. In actual fact, you should get it. So if you are sitting here and say, but no, I haven't got any one of those, probably you haven't stopped. Yeah, there are detriments when you stop. Look at this guy, he says, I used to think my wife was a terrific cook until I gave up smoking. Yeah, all of a sudden your taste buds are back. And there's advantages as well. I used to think cucumbers and bananas taste alike. Yes. Let's talk about the signs of an addiction. What does it mean? Addictions are repetitive behaviors in the face of negative consequences, the desire to continue something you know is bad for you. So what are we talking about? This is now the director of the National Institute on Drug Abuse in America telling us this. Addictions are repetitive behaviors in the face of negative. So I know it's not good for me. I know I'm probably going to get sick. I know I even might die. But I still have this desire to continue with something which I know is bad for me. That's a definition of an addiction. There's another one. You are unable to stop when you want to, despite being aware of the adverse consequences. You know of the consequences, but you are unable to stop. And in the end, it rules your life. You spend more time satisfying your craving. That's also from the National Institute on Drug Abuse. And yes, let's say it to each other. We don't like to say I am addicted, but before you admit that you are addicted, you probably won't seek any help. I thought I would never get addicted to this habit. How wrong was I? For 42 years, I was the slave of this habit, this nicotine habit. I was addicted to it. I could not stop. So you see this at the airports. I think this is in Cairo. where I took this photo. Now, why I took it, because it's not actually, the photo did not come out as I wanted it. In actual fact, that's a very small cubicle you're looking at there. And in actual fact, there are 9 people standing next to each other, right next to each other, all of them smoking as fast as they can, because they cannot go into the airport, they cannot go onto the aeroplane whilst they're smoking. So now they're using this time and putting everything in which they can. It's actually amazing to look at something like that. Addiction. What addicts us? Well, look at alcohol. This is now United States statistics. I don't have South Africa's, but let's just, for argument's sake, look at it. Alcohol. 7% of the population is addicted to alcohol. Drugs. Tobacco. Look at the tobacco addiction. And interesting, 23% men, 18% women, 44% youth, and then the youth between 18 and 25 years of age, half of the smokers are young people. But look at caffeine. Caffeine as an addiction. 80 to 90% of Americans are addicted to caffeine in one or other form. Coke, coffee, tea, chocolates, name it, caffeine. Yes, and then food. Food addiction. 15% of the population are addicted to food. Gambling. Did you know that there is now also a gambling anonymous, as there is a alcohol anonymous? Gambling. You can get addicted to that. And then, of course, shopping as well. You even get the compulsive buyers. So you tend to have an addictive setup, or an addictive body. Some people get addicted easier than others. Now we need to look at something else, and that's our diets. Now we will be talking about that tomorrow in our next presentation. I just want to show you this, because this is normally not how a smoker's diet looks like. It looks quite different. But this is, I'm just showing this. I'm not going to talk about it now. But this is how it should look like, with the least on top and the most of our diet at the bottom. But let's leave that for our next presentation. I just want to look at Coke, Coca-Cola. Did you know that 1 glass of Coke consists of 10 cubicles of sugar? That's over and above the caffeine that's in that glass. 10 cubes of sugar. Now, what's the problem with refined sugar? Well, it's got a health problem. You can talk to any doctor and they will advise you, please get the sugar out of your system. Don't use so much sugar, especially refined sugar. Be careful with your children with sweets and sugar. And if you go on the internet and you look at the dangers of sugar, refined sugar, you'll find them there. So what will the alternative be? Well, I think the alternative is the natural alternative. And the best one, in actual fact, would be honey, which is the natural alternative for sugar. Then water. We've been talking about water. I hope you're still drinking your 6 to 8 glasses of water per day, as we advised you in our first presentation. It reduces the risk of heart attack, it reduces fatigue, it purifies the body, it helps to prevent kidney problems, it helps with energy levels. So water is your natural way of detoxing and getting all the nicotine out of your body. I hope you are still busy taking your water. And then sunlight. You need to get sunlight. Get at least 10 to 20 minutes of sunlight per day on your body. Why? It's a source of vitamin D, and your body needs vitamin D. But beware of our sun in South Africa, especially in South Africa and in Australia. You've got this sun, the ultraviolet rays of the sun are very dangerous, and I'm sitting here with cancer all over my body. They've operated a few times. They've operated a few weeks ago. They operated here on my nose, and all because of sunburn, yes, what the sun can do to your body, and you should be aware of that. But on the other hand, you should get into the sun. You need the vitamin D. The physical addiction is gone in 3 to 4 days, so we are nearly there. So what am I telling you? If you are now, and we are now actually, for all practical purposes, at Wednesday evening, I would actually say have a good night's sleep tonight. Go and sleep early tonight as well as you did yesterday. Get some sleep. If you awake tomorrow morning, Thursday morning, you will be over your addiction. You will not be addicted to nicotine anymore. Your blood will have no nicotine in it anymore. Then we've passed that 60 to 72 hours period which we were aiming for when we started on Monday night. So that's the good news. We are on our way. But new roads need to be formed in our brain, and new habits need to be introduced. So we will have to be talking about that in our last presentations. How to change your habit? Make a conscious decision. Throw away or avoid what reminds of the old habit. That's point number 2. Think positive. Point number 3. And then this one, this is a very replace the negative habit with a positive one. What do I mean by that? May I share a little bit of my own life with you? I was a little boy. My father was a rugby player, but he was also a smoker. He worked in the mines, and one day he took his packet of cigarettes. In those days there was a cigarette named Springbuck. Our older generation will remember that specific cigarette. It came in packets of 30. And one day after a rugby match, I still remember I was walking next to him, and he said, "Son, you know what? Today I am going to stop this smoking." And he took that packet of cigarettes in his hand. He had big hands, a miner. And he took that packet of cigarettes and he squashed it in front of me, and he threw it into the bushes there. My dad. And he never smoked again. That was Saturday. Monday, he took his first beer. And there started a new habit. In the end, becoming a new addiction. the negative replaced by another negative habit. And he got addicted to alcohol. And I stood next to his bed in a small town, small hospital. They were not so sophisticated as today. They had a little something there with a pipe in his liver draining that which comes from the liver. His liver was so damaged by the alcohol. And there my dad died at the age of 54. 54. Replace the negative habit with a positive one. Now, our young people, what are they doing? They are replacing the negative habit of smoking with another more negative hubbly bubbly. And they do not realize that these vapes are deadly. Deadly. And even the vape shops are opening all over the place. Don't be fooled. Warn your children. Warn your children. And this comes from the Cancer Association. What's the problem? What's the problem here? Just have a look at this. It's not that harmless. Cancer, lung damage, heart disease, tuberculosis, herpes, early death. Now, let's just have a look at this little slide. Do you think that smoking hubbly bubbly is less harmful than smoking cigarettes? Think again. How long does one typical cigarette session last? Well, if I take a cigarette and I smoke it, well, it lasts up to 5 to 7 minutes, isn't it? 8 to 12 puffs, then the cigarette is gone. Versus now, one typical hubbly bubbly session where people sit and they enjoy themselves around the table, and many times even using the same hubbly bubbly from one mouth to the other. 20 to 80 minutes, 20 to 200 puffs. What's the point? Well, it's the equivalent to inhaling the smoke of 100 or more cigarettes. Think about it. One typical hubbly bubbly session equivalent to the inhaling of the smoke of 100 or more cigarettes. So it's more dangerous than smoking. Okay, how do we do it? Relax. Hold my calls. Yeah, sometimes we need to put that telephone off as well, eh? That cell phone, that's also been something that's we're addicted to. We don't want to realize that. We don't really want to admit that. But think about it. We are getting addicted to our cell phones as well. Get some rest. Get some rest. Make time during the day and others. Here's the golden key. I choose not to smoke, not to overeat, not to overwork. That's my choice. I choose not to do that. But I choose to get enough sleep, to exercise regularly, to drink enough water, and to wait for 5 minutes when these cravings come. That's our golden key. So let's just have a look at a few things that we haven't looked at before yet. Be aware of this. Overeating. Why? Well, extra blood goes to the stomach and then from the brain to other parts of the body, and the result is drowsiness, isn't it? And the first thing I want after I've had a nice plate of food, what's the first thing I'm looking for? Reaching for my packet of cigarettes. Why? Your willpower is only half awake. You cannot fight aggressively against the craving to smoke. So beware. Do not overeat, or else you will not be able to withstand that craving. On the other hand, you are a rooster or you're an owl, which means that you get up early in the morning, or you do not get up early in the morning. You get insufficient sleep. You wake up late, you battle to get out of the bed, you grab a cup of coffee and you grab a piece of toast, you rush to get to work on time. Now, I want to tell you, if that is your routine, you will have to stop, stand still, think about your routine, go back, change your routine. Because you cannot fight against the cravings under these circumstances. You will have to change that routine. Insufficient sleep. Then overwork. Oh, well, it's actually the sickness of our time. Too much to do, too little time. And if this continues too long, it brings exhaustion, irritation, stress, and again, your willpower is weakened. And then this one, alcohol. The effect on the brain is immediate. How long does it take for the alcohol to reach your brain from your stomach? Well, I might be wrong, but I got this from a medical person. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a chemist. I'm not actually sure whether this is on spot, but they tell me it takes only a few seconds, 7 or 8 seconds, for that alcohol to reach your brain from your stomach. And immediately it affects your willpower, your reasoning, your judgment. So this is one thing you need to look at in your own life. We're not here for that purpose, but because of my own experience in my own life, with my own dad, I need to talk about this, and I usually do talk about this. And whilst you're decided to quit smoking, why don't you also decide to quit this habit? In the end, as with smoke, it is also a killer. Remember, dear friends, 6 to 8 glasses of water per day, get enough sleep, do something else, shift your focus, eat healthy. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Wait for 5 minutes. Avoid stress if it's possible. Avoid stress. Wait for 5 minutes, avoid stress, do light exercises, and think positive. And good day. I hope you enjoyed this one. Tomorrow will be our 4th day. Tomorrow, when we get together again, most of us will have a smile on our faces. I can promise you that. I've been through this now for many years with many people, with hundreds of people, and I can testify of hundreds of people that have stopped this habit of smoking with this plan, which is not difficult. Those of you that have been with us from the beginning will have to admit this is not really a difficult plan. It is actually it's not that difficult. But in the end, may God bless you, and have a good day until we talk again.